This is Egypt's #1 for hit music, 104.2 Nile FM. Now, Nile FM's Aware with Adham.
Welcome one and all to the show. Hope you're having a great Saturday. With us today in the studio is Manal from the school uniform recycling program, of course powered by an organization called Tree of Hope. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Egypt's #1 for hit music, 104.2 Nile FM. Cairo, Nile FM's Aware.
And I simply hope that your Saturday and your entire weekend pretty much was pretty good. I know mine's about to get a whole bunch better because with us today in the studio, Manal from the school uniform recycling program, which is quite the mouthful. Manal, welcome on the show.
Thank you.
And before we get to the nuts and bolts of the initiative, I know a little bit of background about it, but my question at the very beginning would be, what made you start thinking about that? I mean, there's so many areas of charity and work in the NGO field. Why school uniform in particular? What sparked the idea?
I was always concerned about the amount of uniform, about the pieces that get thrown everywhere every year, and people do not make proper use of it. And I was looking for an activity to do with my daughters, and this is where the idea came from. We thought, let's get together, talk to the school, and collect the uniforms and give it to the people who actually need it.
So this was actually something that you decided to do with your daughters.
Yes.
You were just looking for an activity. Because most mothers would let's make macarona bil bechamel or something. But you went all out for that one.
I always run out of the kitchen, so that looked like a great alternative.
So basically, how did it start? I mean, did you start getting to schools or talking to people, or what was the process that led it to what it is today?
It started with the school for my daughters. I went to talk to the school management board and to the parents and teacher association, and they were all ready for it. They loved the idea. We agreed on collection points, on how we're going to do it, how we'll take it, how we're going to divide it, and people even donated money for it, and it just went through very well.
Where did it go from there? I mean, how did it progress from that point on?
We have 3 other schools who joined the initiative. They actually knew about it from cousins and relatives in our school, and they started to contact me to send more of their stuff. And we're hoping through the program today, more schools will get in touch so we can take their items, recycle, and give it to others in need.
So I guess let's dive into the initiative itself. How does it work exactly? Do you collect the clothes and then give them to other people, or how does it work?
The idea is to have the kids collect the school uniform. And what we did in the past week, schools had collection points so that the last 3 days of the school, kids will come and drop their stuff they do not need, their siblings are not going to use. When the school has all the stuff collected, they contact me or anyone from the Tree of Hope. We come, collect these items, we then go through it to see what needs to be fixed, what needs to have the badge of the school taken away. We fix it, we clean it, we wash it, and then we go to other public schools and tell them, this is what we have, how can we give it to your kids?
Wow, this is really, really cool. So not only do you just collect the clothes, but you actually fix whatever needs fixing and sewing, cleaning, laundry, etc., and then you give it to schools that might actually need it. Do you give it to the schools themselves or the kids within that school?
We give it to the kids within the school. We go to the schools. They have the kids coming to their playground. We see what sizes we have, and we try to cover as much as we have, or as many of these kids according to what items we actually have.
And you actually sort them by color. So for example, each school that you are offering these clothes to all get the same color so that they still maintain some form of cohesive uniform.
Actually, you'll be amazed that 2 of the schools that we've given the uniforms to last year agreed to switch the colors of the uniform to take the stuff that we had, as long as it fitted the number of students they had inside the school. People were very cooperative in getting these items for us because they were really in good condition.
Manal, what I really love about this program is that you're really kind of doing a Robin Hood without the stealing bit. You're taking some stuff that is not being used and putting it to great usage, as a matter of fact. But what I even love more is the fact that you're just mentioning that you're involving the local community around this project and actually creating jobs through this initiative as well. Please explain how.
In the center of our NGO, which is located in Boulaid Dakour, we have noticed in the last 2 years that a lot of people looking for odd jobs. And we always think, instead of donating money to them, let's fix them with jobs. And that's what we did. We had 4 women from the area who had certain fixing and sewing skills. And we had them come and work on dyeing, fixing, and taking the badges out of the uniforms and then putting it in plastic bags to give out to the students. And they worked with us the full time for around 5 weeks to get this going.
So it's not that you take the clothes and give them like, to a laundromat or like, send them off to get dry cleaned. You actually get people involved, give them jobs to fix the
Yes.
clothes, wash them, and put them in like, whip them in good shape, and then throw them back to the
Yes.
schools. It's really, really good stuff. And when you're involving the local communities, you're talking about volunteering as well, because right now we're talking jobs, but where does volunteering come into play?
Volunteering came from the students from some of these schools who decided that they will come all the way out of their houses to the place where we are based, where there are no ACs. It's very limited, very primitive, to help us divide the items and put it in piles to see where each one of these will go. And these were the volunteers. But the local community was the one working with us with a limited fee, a small fee, in fixing the items.
I guess my question right now is, how do people get involved in this? Is there a time frame? Is there a cycle? And what do you have planned for the future?
This is the end of our cycle for 2013 because most of the national and international schools have just finished, and we're hoping to start again in September as schools start to sell their uniforms again and people go through their clothes and think, wow, this is not fitting anymore, so what should I do with it? And I'm calling out for any parents and teacher associations, schools, student councils to get in touch with us and see how can they get their school running for that program and help us cover the millions of students in the streets of Cairo and the schools of Cairo who can do that program.
So basically your next step would be to actually involve more schools.
Yes.
And dare I ask, are you sticking to only school uniforms, or are you expanding it to clothes in general?
We actually we do receive clothes in general, but we were looking for something to get the students involved, having them to participate, to feel they're doing something, to understand about recycling, to understand about giving back. And that's why we're focusing mainly on school, but welcoming anybody who would like to donate all sorts of things.
Time, unfortunately, to wrap things up on this edition of NileFM's Aware. Manal, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and thank you very much for all the effort that you guys are putting in this wonderful initiative, the School Uniform Recycling Program. Before I let you go, though, how do people get in touch with you guys? Specifically, if I want to volunteer, or in general, if I want to donate clothes, or if I want to put you in touch with my school, whichever it may be, how do I get in touch?
Our website now is under construction, so I guess the best thing to do is to leave you guys the web address, and then you can give it to whoever is interested.
Fair enough. And of course, you know our email address. If you want to get in touch with the School Uniform Recycling Program powered by the Tree of Hope, just give us send me a quick email, aware@nileradioproductions.net, and I'd be more than happy to put you in touch once the website is up and running. That's it from us, though, unfortunately, on this edition of NileFM's Aware. Manal, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on the show. Really appreciate that.
Adham, it was my pleasure, and good luck.
Thank you very much. And as I always say at the very end of every show, if you are one of those individuals, whether it's an initiative, it's a social development program, it's an NGO, if you're doing something to give back to the community, please let me know about it. I'd love to have you right here on the show. Just send me a quick brief about what you guys are up to. aware@nileradioproductions.net. One more time, that's aware@nileradioproductions.net. Tell me a little bit about your organization or initiative, and I would love to have you right here on the show and discuss it maybe right this next Saturday. That's it from me, though. I'll catch you next Saturday for another edition of NileFM's Aware, where it's all about giving back to the community.